Hello everyone, I'm John Ramsey, Director of City Partnerships for Louisville Focus. Often we celebrate the opening of new businesses here in Louisville, and that's fine and dandy. But this is going to be a real celebration. 100 years of Lakeside Swim Club. If any entity has existed for 100 years, you know they're doing something right, and they are certainly doing something right here, and they have been, once again, for 100 years at Lakeside Swim Club. With me now is Colleen Murphy, and Colleen is the events coordinator for this big 100th year anniversary. Okay, first of all, Colleen, thank you for coming on, and congratulations.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about Lakeside today. It's definitely a personal passion of mine, and I'm super proud of what we've put together for the 100th anniversary. You
know, there are so many memories here for people. There's so much history here, and some of it national history as far as meets that have been held here, you know, national talent, world records, all kinds of things that have happened here at Lakeside Swim Club. But talk to me a little bit about this 100th anniversary and what it will mean to the members.
Sure. So the Lakeside Corporation started in 1924. So this is our 100th season of summer swimming. And I think that a lot of us have been lifelong members. There are a lot of people in the community who've watched their children grow up here, who've had their first job here. And to be able to celebrate that sense of community alongside the athletic achievements of Lakeside Swim Club is just a real honor and a privilege.
Yeah, and it's not stopping at 100 years. We're going to continue, but let's talk about the significance of this historical marker, because they don't just hand those out. This is something that certainly Lakeside has earned. It's something that means a lot to the community here, not only right here, but in Metro Louisville overall. Again, talk about that a little bit, that marker.
Sure. So the board of directors added a new historical marker in March, and it talks about both Kalen's Quarry and the different names that Lakeside's Quarry has gone by, as well as the Ohio Valley Championships, which are probably our best known swim meet. It is the longest running swim meet held continuously in the same location. So
there's so much history, as I mentioned before, and we're going to talk a little bit about a person who or talk to a person who is putting out a book on Lakeside Swim Club, which to me, you know, you've accomplished a lot when you've got an entire book written about your history. But talk to me a little bit about your personal memories, things that stand out for you.
Oh my goodness. So I also grew up at Lakeside, and I think anyone of my generation remembers the sliding board that we used to have back in the 70s and 80s. I also definitely have fond memories of becoming a lifeguard here and the training that I received that has helped me at every other job I've ever had in my entire life. And just the circle of generations, watching kids that I taught how to swim go on to teach other kids how to swim or qualify for the Olympics, or just all those generational attributes.
So is there another marker coming? There was a time way back in the day when I was up on the high dive and I was trying to do a 1.5, but I ended up splashing with my belly, and it was this huge splash. So I know there's probably someone wanting a historical marker to mark that occasion, right?
Right. No, the biggest splash contest is one that we hold here annually on July 4th. Ooh. So you're going to need to enter that, John, in order to get your name on a plaque.
Okay, thank you so much. So for this big 100th anniversary celebration, and by the way, again, you're the events coordinator, you're going to make it happen. Just if you would go over a few of the events and things that will happen for the members.
Absolutely. So probably the biggest thing that we have planned is a historical display that the board of directors and the staff have been working on for a long period of time, and that will be on display the week of July 4th. But we also have some other events planned for the community and our membership, including children's activities. We've got a children's costume parade. We've got a Chalk the Walk event for our members and their children. We've got some other community events we're having for the Lakeside community. Some speakers come in and talk about the geological features. We've got a geologist on staff at Bellarmine. Wow. Who is also a Lakeside member. Yeah, so she's going to come in and talk about some of the rock formations and things of that nature. So guest speakers, trivia night. We've got a lot of celebrations planned.
You know, Colleen, we could talk about the history, and we have touched upon that a little bit. But really, when you think about Lakeside, to me, it comes back to what seems to be your emphasis. A lot of this is on the kids, on kids' memories, making kids happy, families here in this area of town. So talk a little bit about that. You can't think about summer fun fun without thinking about kids splashing, laughing, and having fun with their friends, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely, John. This is very much a family place. And at one point in time, I was a swim instructor. So
I believe that. You look like you could still get after it, you know?
Thank you. So I remember Lakeside just has this huge, and historically too, Lakeside has had a huge emphasis on teaching people how to swim. And even as far as community outreach goes, we have like a coach here, William Kolb, who's created some community outreach programs teaching adults how to swim as well as kids. But I think that emphasis on education and that emphasis on bringing up the next generation, you know, knowing that the first time a child learns to use money and get correct change is at the concession stand, and that they, you know, have to practice talking to adults here at the pool. The support that the community has for one another, saying, you know, hey, I'll watch your kid while you run to the restroom and things like that. Those interactions just mean the world. That's the real Lakeside.
You know, Colleen, I can tell a lot of thought, a lot of passion has gone into this 100th year celebration. So good luck to you. I hope you have weather like you have today, because it is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. So good luck to you moving forward.
Me too. Thank you so much, John. It was great talking to you.
Great talking to you as well. Once again, Colleen Murphy. And Colleen, of course, is the wait a minute, I want to make sure I get this right. You're the events coordinator for the 100th year anniversary.
That is correct.
Okay, AKA she's a big cheese, folks. All right. We'll be right back on Louisville Focus. Take a look at my backdrop here. An exotic location, yes indeed. It is Lakeside Swim Club, and they are celebrating 100 years. My next guest is a musician. She's an artist and she is an author. She is Bridget Kalin, and she has a book coming out that is about Lakeside and its history. Bridget, first of all, I am so jealous of you. You have a lot of talents. Artist, right? Author and musician, correct?
Yeah, nothing really useful, but I'm fun at parties.
I bet you are. You're a great conversationalist. We've had a chance to talk a little bit here. Okay, so first of all, what was the inspiration for Lakeside? It's kind of personal for you, isn't it?
It is. I grew up around here as one of the lucky people who gets to live surrounding the quarry. My mom grew up around here, and I pretty much lived at this pool every day of every summer, and I recognize how lucky I was, for sure.
So it all started now, of course, way before you. 1890, it started with a quarry, correct?
Yes, all through the 1800s, and especially after the invention of dynamite, then the quarry here was rented out to people who were paving a lot of downtown Louisville as the city was growing. So there were farmers here, the Kalins, the Daups lived here, and they started making this big gaping quarry bigger and bigger until they struck water around.
The quarries, though, just by their very nature, are beautiful. Are there any other, I don't know, I guess, swim clubs, quarries like this here at Lakeside?
So I haven't been able to find other quarry swimming pools that are operated anywhere like Lakeside is. The fact that it's actually 3.2 million gallons of fluorinated Board of Health certified water is just incredible. But Jefferson County in Louisville actually has at least 18 other quarries that most people just don't know about. In the 1940s, there were 4 public, Lakeside was public then, quarry swimming pools where lots of people, that's what they do, especially soldiers at Bowman Field during the war, and Fort Knox would come and cool off, and all these great quarry swimming pools, and all the other ones have closed, unfortunately.
Yeah, we should make this the prototype. It's beautiful.
They're just sitting there waiting. I wish that the mayor would jump in and, you know, all those pools closed in Louisville would be so cool. We could have the coolest public swimming pools in the country.
Well, he may be watching this, and you may have a job soon to make that happen, but with that being said, okay. It all started, did it start because of, my guess is the community just saw how beautiful this site is, and they said, you know what, let's do something with it, and hence now here we are, 100 years of Lakeside, right?
You're pretty close. So when the subdivision was platted in 1923, one person owned this lot, the quarry, and it was actually not a really nice factor of the neighborhood. People did not enjoy it. It was mosquito-laden and cattails and swampy marshes everywhere. And so the neighbors were like, what do we do with this marshy, swampy quarry? Also, kids are jumping in, and I'm liable for it. So it's interesting, instead of just one person owning it, or it is private property, they decided to form a co-op. So they formed a nonprofit corporation, and today Lakeside operates as a nonprofit club. And its whole purpose is to own and operate and beautify this lake in Jefferson County.
So over the past 100 years, Lakeside has become nationally recognized, and we've had national swim meets here, still do. We've had national swimmers who have set world records that come from Lakeside. Talk a little bit about that evolvement, how it became a competitive swim club as well.
So in the early days of Lakeside, it was just neighbors walking around and swimming, and somebody eventually pulled some kids together to have races. You know, this was during the Depression, right after a pandemic. People were looking for outdoor things, outdoor sports activities to do, and so they started having little races. And then in 1928, they did the first Lakeside Championships, which is still held today. And I think it's the 96th year of it now, and it's the Ohio Valley Championships. And since then, the word got out that, hey, this is a really cool place to have meets. And they had the men's nationals here in the 30s. More and more people came, and we've had at least 11 Olympians so far, yeah. And all of them were women until 2012.
Wow, so, you know, I always think about Mary T. Maher, of course, and had the world record for the longest period of time, and is a legend, Madam Butterfly. With that being said, lots of Olympians. What is it about this pool? Obviously, well, the beauty of it, but something, I don't know, is it a competitive juice that exists here? What is the secret, Bridget? I have no idea.
Well, I wish I knew. I was on the Seahawks, and I was never one of the fast ones. But other people that I've talked to have said that there is something about the quarry swimming, and that you just get used to all kinds of weather. Most people who train indoors never have to deal with rain even. And then there's backwash. Lakeside, that's the kind of splashing off the sides. Lakeside doesn't have that. So you kind of get used to just feeling what it's like. And it's almost like open water swimming.
Bridget, obviously you had a lot of research that was involved in your book. And again, entitled Lakeside, correct?
It's called Lakeside, yeah.
I love it. Okay, so when will it be available? And talk a little bit, if you would, about that research and the hours that you put into to really chronicle the history here.
I spent years researching this book, and there was a history done in 1988 by Jack Thompson that was wonderful. I read it as a kid, and I always envisioned this should be bigger and full color and a little more in depth. So I read every Courier Journal article, every Louisville Times article that mentioned Lakeside, family trees, the county clerks. My husband's so tired of hearing my interesting facts.
So Bridget, I think that's what makes your book interesting, because if you love Louisville, you're going to love the book. If you love history, if you love swimming competitively, and just the fun you can have in a pool, all of it really comes together in one book. What was your goal?
My goal was to talk about the history of the pool. You know, it's such a mystery to so many people in Louisville. It's right on Trevelyan Way, but most people don't even know they're driving past it. And so I wanted to kind of get the truth out there. There's a lot of rumors, a lot of people have stories they've been told. So my goal was fact-checking all the stories I'd heard and writing the story of what is this quirky little pool in the Highlands. And my answer is that it turns out it's community more than anything. Some people said it's like a church, you know, you just can trust everybody. I remember days when my little one had to go to the bathroom and I had a toddler, and somebody's like, I'll watch and you go ahead. So people kind of take care of each other here.
100-year celebration. I mean, for you, and I think this is probably where you derive your passion, it's very personal for you, not only being a resident in this area, but your family generations back. In fact, now help me out here. I was reading 1890. The gentleman who kind of started all this, his last name was Kalin, so I have to ask, any relation?
Not directly, but we're probably fifth cousins or something. Yeah, they all came from the same town in Switzerland.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting. It was the Kalin farm.
All right, so obviously, you know, we all evolve, things change, memories change, things that mean something to you. Obviously, you spoke about your kids. So talk about some of your childhood memories here. I mean, obviously the passion for Lakeside is in your DNA, right?
I think so, yeah. I keep trying to leave Louisville, and I keep coming back, and I swear half of it's Lakeside. No, I love it here. And my kids would be so angry. They love the same thing, waking up, being first in line at the gate, and swimming all day. It's great. Yeah, my memories, I came here, I was born in July, and my mom brought me the next week, I'm sure, to the pool. And learning how to swim, I was on the Seahawks, I was on the diving team, I worked here for many, many years as a lifeguard, concession, teaching swim lessons. It really is just a really cool community to be a part of.
Yeah, and because you live in this area, it's like your own private pool, right?
It is, and there's nothing like walking to this paradise, just from, you know, rolling out of bed and throwing on your swimsuit on a Saturday morning and just swimming all day.
And lots of friendships.
So many friends. It's so funny. I still run into people, and there's an ongoing joke from lots of people who live here that you see someone at Kroger and you're like, oh, I didn't recognize you with your clothes on. And I kind of laugh because we're just so used to the hanging out on the lounge chairs.
Sure, and those are the best memories. So for you, I'm curious, we've talked a lot about the history, the beginnings, what Lakeside Swim Club is today, and we're coming up on 100 years. If you had to take out one personal memory, just one, what would that be?
It's probably later in life. I loved those mornings where my parents, who when they were still alive, would come over with just giant books, and then the three of us would just sit on lounge chairs and read until we got hot, jump in the pool, come right back and just read and hang out. And it's like, you know, like hanging out at a bar, except it's better because there's no alcohol. You just hang out with your friends, and sometimes there's music and people you know wander in and out, and you just friendships and family. It's great.
It is certainly iconic, and for those who would like to have some memories available at their fingertips from Lakeside, your book Lakeside, once again, I've had a chance to peruse it a little bit. Beautiful pictures, a lot of history, and as I said, you know, there's some national history that has been made here. So with that being said, when can people get a hold of it? How can they do it? When do you think it'll be released?
It's going to be out the week of July 4th, so I think July 2nd
Perfect.
is the actual. Yeah, so Lakeside's having a week of 100th anniversary celebrations, and the book will be ready by then.
All right. Bridget Kalin, thank you so much for your time. Continued success. I don't know if it's going to be, you know, with an art canvas or in a band or here at Lakeside, but you're going to continue to make history, aren't you?
Thank you. I hope so.
All right. Once again, that's Bridget Kalin, and we are Louisville Focus. Lakeside Swim Club is celebrating 100 years, and when we opened the show, we talked a little bit about the fact you must be doing something right, and they certainly are. And the reason this place is a well-oiled machine is because of this lady here, Mary Graves, who is the general manager of Lakeside Swim Club. Mary, first of all, congratulations, 100 years now. You don't go back 100 years, but you've been involved for quite some time, haven't you?
I have been. Been here over 40 years in management. Started my career here as a youth, as a lifeguard when I was 15 and 16 years old. Grew up swimming here before I even knew there was a swimming pool here. So my parents bought a home right up here on Eastview Avenue and raised their 4 kids here. We were all competitive swimmers in one way or the other. And then I came back, and I've been on the professional management staff since 1983.
So you're the right person in the position because you've really lived about every role here. Can you still twirl a whistle pretty good like the lifeguards do?
I can. We don't allow that though, John, but I can twirl a whistle, and I can make an ice cream cone, and I can sweep up trash like the best of them.
Oh, Mary, I love you. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the fact that you just mentioned, you said, well, we don't twirl whistles around here. This club does have a lot of prestige to it. And I don't know if that's the right word, you tell me, but in your words, what separates Lakeside Swim Club from maybe other similar clubs?
I think the heritage that we've grown up with, the history of us being one of the very first swimming clubs here in Louisville that had lifeguards, taught swimming lessons. Plus, we're such a unique facility. We have to extend the training of our lifeguards and our maintenance staff and concession and swim instructors and front desk staff to the highest standard above the norm because we are Lakeside. We do separate ourselves. There's great swimming facilities in our city, and I have a lot of respect for all the pools and country clubs, metro parks to be included in that, but also we are unique. We are an old rock quarry. So it has its own challenges within itself because we're not your traditional rectangle pool with a diving board facility separate, or a zero depth pool, which are really popular nowadays, which I strongly encourage new builds to have because they're wonderful for non-swimmers. But we do make a separation of how we train our staff, how we conduct our behavior, and yes, we have a lot of rules, and some people say we have too many rules, but we're 100 years old, so I don't think we have too many rules.
I think a lot of that has to do with, and you tell me, correct me if I'm wrong here, Mary, but the community involvement. It's basically owned by the community, correct? And community is involved, and they're very passionate about this.
Very passionate, that's correct. There's a certificate membership. When you purchase a home in the designated Lakeside Edition, your home qualifies for certificate property, which means you have an opportunity to assist in the governance of Lakeside Club. We have a lot of passionate people here, and when it comes to working the gardens or coming up with program ideas, people want to give their input, and we follow the proper channels through operational to the board of directors to implementation.
Mary, during this show we've talked a lot about the history, and it's certainly a very rich history, but Lakeside Swim Club is more than just swimming. You and I had a brief conversation. You said, you know, fitness, training, that kind of thing. Talk a little bit about the other things that you do here at Lakeside Swim Club.
Most people think of Lakeside just as the swim pool, and it is the swim pool. But we have a lot of instructional programs, from swimming lessons people normally think of, swimming lessons, diving lessons, but we have swimming lessons from the infants to toddlers to preschoolers, all through elementary age. We even have programs for young adults as well as adults who are fearful to swim, and we want to encourage everyone to be able to swim. We have fitness programs that range from water aerobics, one of our very popular programs, to Tai Chi, to Nia, to yoga, to body sculpting, to total body blast. So we offer dry land fitness as well as water fitness, and those opportunities get people to learn about our club and what we can offer. We also offer special events. This summer, we have a whole slew of events scheduled for the anniversary, but we also have our traditional events. We'll have our annual dive-in movie. We will have our family bingo night. We have concerts. We have several concerts that are scheduled where it's just beautiful music in the club on a given Sunday night. Bridget Kalin, the author of our book, will be performing here in July, and she's been one of my annual followers in the concert group, but we'll have several groups here for that. The swim meets are all very exciting and special. If you have a pool, you usually have a team. Lakeside has the good fortune to not just have the Lakeside Seahawk team, which is our oldest team. They were founded in 1928. So 4 years after the inception of Lakeside, we developed a swim team and have produced multiple champions, as you've already spoken of, as well as Olympians. We also have our age group developmental team, the Quarry Gator swim team, obviously the name Quarry because we are the Rock Quarry. They're for club members who are ages 5 to 18, and they have a summer swimming league, so they get to compete as well as train. We have a lot of fun day activities, picnics, family activities with that program. And then our third swim team is the Lakeside Masters team, and that is for our adults club members who are 18 and over who want to continue swimming or learn to swim competitive, either for fitness or for competition, and we produce national champions out of the Masters team as well.
I mean, a lot of special people, special athletes, but the emphasis always seems to circle back to the kids. Making memories here. See, I see you smile. That must be, Mary, very rewarding for you when you see families who come out here and they tell you stories. Maybe they remembered you lifeguarding and they tell you stories, you know, and they're all good stories. That has to be a sense of pride.
It very much is a sense of pride, and we do want to create memories. And I get to hear it from generation to generation. My longevity here has carried through. I have people who were lifeguards for me in my early years. Now they're bringing their children here and putting them on the swim team that I taught their parents to swim. And they love Lakeside. They moved to the neighborhood to try to get into Lakeside. Some people specifically say that. Also, got to bring mom and dad as a guest because they want them to have that pleasure to remember in the 60s when we brought you or your siblings. So just creating those memories, and people will say, wow, it really looks the same. And in a lot of aspects it does. And when you see Bridget's book, you will see photos. We couldn't change our footprint much. I mean, it's 3 acres of property, but we've turned it into a facility for the 21st century.
Well, it's fabulous. Congratulations to you on the 100th year anniversary. My go-to question for this show has been personal memories, because I think, you know, there's obviously passion from every person we've talked to here at Lakeside, whether it's members or people who work here like yourself, Mary. So personal memories for you. What I mean, you've already mentioned you've had a lot of roles here. Is there any certain day or certain person or something that really stands out for you?
You know, when I think back, and I put myself in various categories, you know, coming here as a youth with my older sister, where she was charged to bring me to Lakeside so we could come and play, and we just spent hours and hours down here. Our brothers were here on the swim team. We had other neighbors here, and it was a collective environment of just come to the pool and have fun. And I thought that's what everybody in the world did, because we were having so much fun. And then as I grew into a young adult as a lifeguard and as a swim team member, the relationships that I have made over the years, my best friends today are some of the best friends that I developed when I was 8 and 9 years old. And as I segue continuing into the memories, maybe more than you want, but my staffing, I think of the multiple staff who've come back and shared their stories with Bridget and or myself of what a great workplace this was. You were my first boss. You instilled great work ethic, and I'm carrying that on in my life today. And they're 40 years old, you know, and they were 18 when they worked for me. Those are memories and relationships that have evolved out of my employees. It's kind of like you talk to a high school principal and they say, well, so-and-so were dating in high school and now they're married and have 3 children. I can say that about several of our staff members as well.
I think the fact, Mary, that you have all of these, you know, longtime friends speaks to you and your character. They love coming back, seeing you, talking to you. So congratulations for your career. You are so passionate, which makes for a great guest. I want to congratulate you on your 100th anniversary here at Lakeside. And again, not only congratulations to what you've accomplished here, but to the success. 100 years speaks to it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, John. We appreciate your all's time and energy of putting this together for us.
Once again, Mary Graves, who's the general manager here at Lakeside Swim Club, 100-year anniversary, certainly iconic in this community, and we loved featuring it and really focusing on it here on, that's what we're about, Louisville Focus.